What can I do to prepare for registration?
So to prepare for registration, I would just say you need to make sure that you have everything completed prior to your registration or advising session, meaning I've taken, all the placement exams, English, math. If you do have credit that's coming in, make sure you've already submitted those official scores, through the College Board, if it's for AP. If it's for community college credit, make sure those transcripts are in.
So to prepare for registration, I would really recommend to have the basics set in place. So for example, you want to have your MPA results already into your degree audit, as well as your entry-level writing requirement, just so you can see that you're going to be taking these classes later on, so you want to already have that set in stone.
One of the ways that you can prepare for registration is to refer back to your Highlander Foundations Canvas course. You should have received the Canvas course that has kind of a lot of information about CNAS, the university, requirements, things like that.
So to prepare for registration, there's always going to be a list of the dates that come out on the academic calendar, so you can check that to make sure that you know when the schedule of classes that are being offered is going to come out, and then you can just browse through this online system and kind of see like, okay, these classes are being offered, this is the ones I plan to take. And then you can build your schedule like that in a full term plan.
But there's also a way to prepare for registration called the term plan, which is also something you'll get really comfortable later on. But that's just potentially see what your future schedule is going to be like in the fall quarter. So you can start looking for different breadths, which is kind of like elective classes, to kind of fill up your schedule.
Also, I think it's really important to make a term plan ahead of schedule. That way, you don't have to be registering really rushed individual classes. You can just add it all at once.
And that's super helpful so that you won't feel super stressed, like when your registration time ticket does open up, and then you'll have to just register for all the classes with the click.
So yeah, just like looking at your major requirements, what you need to do, and what timeline you'd want to follow in order to get those things done. And also if you're applying to graduate school, like possibly looking at what types of prerequisites you're going to have to complete before, or like as you go throughout UCF.
Are there tools or resources to help me with registration?
Definitely a tool always available to you is talking to your advisor.
Obviously, as well as contacting your advisor.
But the one I primarily use is my actual academic advisor, just because they are dedicated to certain majors as well as set to a certain cohort too based on last name. But the advisor is a really great opportunity if you want to see if you're on the right course, if you're going to be falling behind.
And also online, there's the PDFs of the 4-year course plan typical for your major. So you can use that as a good guideline for choosing which classes you need to take or any other additional breadth requirement fulfillments.
Just people out there to help you out with registration if you have any questions. You could go to the CNAS General Undergraduate Advising Check-ins, also called WALK.
And so this is where you can ask a quick question to an academic advisor.
They're going to help you with any questions you may have about how to navigate the waitlist process, or course selections, or also things like deadlines that you might not know about but are really important.
Or additionally, if you have a peer mentor, you can ask them any questions and they'll be willing to help you with registration, as they are definitely seasoned experts and have to do this every quarter.
I really recommend your advisor, as well as your learning community peer mentor. In CNAS, you're going to be paired with upperclassmen to kind of set the pace of how registration is going to go, to see if you're on the right track.
The biggest one is going to be referring back to our CNAS advising website. Again, that's going to have information about our 4-year plans, kind of the degree outlines, what courses do you need to take.
So we do have several tools to help students with registration. You actually have tools on different various websites. So for example, like the registrar's website, they do have a couple of videos of registration. How do I look for classes? How do I actually register? How do I create, a plan? In addition to that, of course, you will have your advisor.
As well, when you attend orientation, that's where you have a lot of support as well from direct advisors, and they'll help you with registration and any questions you may have.
When you do attend your advising session prior to starting, we'll also be able to help you navigate registration and of course get you ready for your first quarter of registration.
All right, so for the next question is, what is a CNAS Learning Community?
So CNAS Learning Community is basically a group of 24 students that you'll be with throughout your entire freshman year, taking your core classes together.
The typical core classes are math, chemistry, and biology. And this means guaranteed registration for these core classes.
And that's based on your math placement. So again, it is really important to have your MPA set in stone.
You already have it included in your schedule, and this means a lecture, lab, and discussion. This is also really good because you don't have to worry about registering, like the stress of registering.
It'll be a full year kind of commitment, so it'll be like the first full year. And you and your peers, whoever's involved in the cohort, you will basically be enrolled in the same core classes.
Which is really helpful because then you'll definitely be able to see the same people over and over, form study groups, or if you have any questions on the lectures or any of the labs, then you can just ask each other. And it definitely helps to make such a big campus feel smaller.
CNAS Learning Community already gives you like a given family or a given community you can rely on. Like I'm still friends with them as a fourth year today. And as a first year, I remember like studying in Orbach with them since we have all those similar classes, so like why not?
And this is just an awesome opportunity to build like a supportive community of other freshmen that are going through the same thing that you're going through, adjusting from like high school to college life.
Then after like all our midterms, all our finals, we would go out and eat and celebrate. So it's really like a holistic community where you can, learn together, but also have like a life together. So yeah.
It really is a community of just students where you could, have that peer-to-peer support, take courses together, and you're doing that together throughout your first year just to kind of give you a solid foundation for academic success, resources, and just a little, I would say, head start in a sense.